Mm-mm. Mm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm. Mm. Ah! I don't care where you take me or what you do to me. I'm not saying anything good about that senior class. There's just nothing to say. I'm not going to do it.
When I first met this class, I was totally perplexed. I just had no idea why on earth they showed up at JP Catholic.
My first impression of the senior class, honestly, was just full of energy. I actually was very shocked at the amount of energy that the entire class had. And actually, looking at hindsight, they were sort of like the second frontier because this class was the last class to actually know the Mira Mesa campus. So they sort of pioneered the Escondido campus.
What's the second frontier?
Like the first frontier was like the first class of JP Catholic, and this is like the second
Are we
frontier.
doing like a Star Trek thing? Like there's a
maybe.
final frontier or something?
I'd say my first impression of this class is about the same as it is every year when I see the new freshmen. I am always really excited to meet new students, and then I think they look so very young, and I wonder if they really are old enough to be here.
I really don't have a first impression of the class. It was kind of like, here we go again. The first class I had with them was the fundamentals of production class, and we get to do the music video. Woohoo! Get to see exciting stuff. Ooh, guys battling with lightsabers. Never seen that before.
First impression of this class. I think they were all scared. Maybe except John Bedard.
I knew Olivia didn't like me from the beginning, so I knew she was going to be a problem. I really felt that Shannon Doran should have gotten rid of that silly earring, which he hasn't. And I always wanted to give Emerson a haircut.
My first impression of this class, so every year it's different, right? Because every year you've got different people coming in. So this year I was really excited when this class came in because I thought, finally, the local prison is doing a great outreach program. I thought it was beautiful. They're bringing in local inmates and they're rehabilitating them through the JP Catholic program. We're being a light to the world and to the community. So I was thrilled.
Hopefully we'll get some originality out of this group eventually.
Is this good though? Is this a good angle?
That's your best side.
Turn around.
Your profile, you look like. I mean, you can't do anything with this guy. You can't do anything with this guy.
My first impression of this class was that there was a lot of youthful energy, a lot of excitement, and a lot of them knew what they wanted to do. And that's always exciting to have that kind of clarity when you're young.
Actually, I really like this class. I would think of all the classes that have ever come to JP Catholic, this class has been just absolutely wonderful.
I hate this question. You guys gotta get better questions than this. Well, do you have a first impression? It was like years ago.
My first impression. That's a good question.
I'm trying to remember.
I remember I would drive the bus for them when we were going back and forth between the two campuses.
Is that true?
Well, not.
There was a bus?
There was like a little white van that I used to drive. Yeah.
The favorite project with this class was the move from Scripps Ranch to Escondido. This is the last class that lived in the old apartments, went to class in the old buildings. I will never ever forget the day we moved the apartments. It'll stick with me forever. It was so great to see students who were so in charge. Elliot, I will never forget when you fired me when I came on site to help load the trucks. Emerson and Chaz, man, you could load trucks better than anybody I had seen. Lisa Spahar, you could empty trucks with the best of them.
You had Elliot and Chaz, just, Sarge and the general organizing, coordinating it all.
Elliot, almost single-handedly moved to the school, so I feel like that kind of counts.
That was actually a crazy project, yeah.
Oh, I know my favorite memory of this class. So, they shoot films all over the world in exciting locations like Paris and Tahiti. And when I had a chance to be sent on location by Warner Brothers, I got to go to Oklahoma. And so these students, when they had a chance to leave California and go on location, of all the places in the world they could have gone, they went to Western Kansas.
I have been told to mention Zach Sadler because he's afraid that no one is going to mention him.
I did not touch on my favorite project because unless they stink, my favorite project is going to be senior project. I hope, don't screw it up.
So the class, my favorite project, the class projects, like projects the students have done.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for them to turn it in.
A few quarters ago, students decided to recreate one of the levels from an old game, which was not as interactive. It's from a game called Riven, made by Cyan. So they figured out their favorite level within that game. I think it was Gallows, and they recreated that level in 3D. They also recreated that level so you can experience that level through Oculus in virtual reality. It was incredible. I think it was my favorite project.
I think also it's really been exciting to see so many students get involved with catechesis over at St. Mary's Parish. And I know a number of students in this class were involved in that regard. And I think it's really great to support the local parish like that. And we have so many theology courses on campus. I think it's really great to see them take what they've learned and then share it with other people, with young people, and help enrich the faith of others.
Chaz. He successfully annoyed us.
true.
In fact, he served no purpose but to annoy us. He's a mosquito.
You're starting a new stage in your life. You're probably fed up of me giving advice from all the classes I've had with you. Going out into life is going to be what you make of it. There's nothing, this JP Catholic has done everything it can for you. Your parents have done everything they can for you. Now life is all up to you. It's going to be a whole series of opportunities that you can take advantage of or squander. Ultimately, it's in your hands.
If I were to give this class some parting words, is just to continue being who you are. This class has been extremely generous with their time, mentoring a lot of the underclassmen. I've been really impressed with a number of students and just how they've gone out of their way to really make sure that those that are under them in class learn the proper way of how to do stuff, even if they haven't figured out the proper numbers to put behind the takes and the scenes on the slate.
The first piece of advice I would like to give to this class is sleep, because you haven't been able to do much of it. Eat, some of you, please, for the love of God. Have some food. Also make a good cup of coffee.
The interesting thing is that I've spent maybe hundreds of hours with this class, and until now I have never told them the greatest piece of advice I've had for them, and I've held it back for this moment, and I wrote it down so that I would get it exactly right. You guys see a slip of paper? It was like it was an envelope, and I don't know. I don't think I can get it back again. So I guess you're just gonna have to remember what I said in class.
If I were to say one thing to this group of students as they go out the door, it would be to remember that if you're talking about Jesus and you're not talking to Jesus, then you can't really impact culture for his name and for his sake. And so I'd really want to encourage all of these students to remain close to the Lord in prayer.
What I usually tell my students is I hope that each and every one of them wants to be an artist, is because they have something special inside of them and they want to share it with the world.
What does it mean to, I'm sorry, I'm not laughing because the question's hilarious. It's something else I was just thinking about, Professor Dunn.
I'll say what I always say. Don't sell out, and be willing to pay the price for not selling out.
It's really important when you impact culture for Christ to hit the brakes just before impact so that you don't cause too much damage. Jesus doesn't like that.
I think a lot of times we think that we have a message, we think we have something to say, we think we have something the world needs to hear, and I don't disagree. But the prophet Jeremiah talks about how the role of a prophet is to turn up the ground of people's hearts, to be provocative. And I think that sometimes I have found questions far more provocative than answers.
Be used by Christ for his purposes in the world. And that seems very vague, but I think to be even more specific is that Christ, being not only the Lord of all things, but resurrected, remains alive in us. He lives through us through his Spirit. And his rule and reign comes to bear in the world through those who he knows and loves and has that intimacy with him. I'm going to just ignore.
What does it mean to impact culture for Christ? I think first and foremost, it means to be Christ to the world, to not just talk about ideals, to not just speak in terms of abstract principles, but to live as if Jesus is present in the world in us. And to be witnesses for Christ means not to talk necessarily about dogmas or concepts, but it means primarily to be a servant and to be a light in the world.
I think the best way to impact culture for Christ is based on the life that you live.
Zach Sadler.
So the movie I see this group of students epitomizing was probably Star Wars. And I don't know, 1 or 4, I guess probably not 1, because everyone's going to want to fight over who's going to be Jar Jar Binks.
Sorry. Why has there been a cake in here for like 6 months? What's the deal with this thing?
It's.
I'm gonna open it.
Go ahead, give it a shot.
It's mostly sugar. It's probably still good.
No, I think you should try
And
it.
I don't like chocolate. Oh gosh, it's moldy. Look
Is
at
it?
the mold. Look. Are you in? You got it? With my face in the background? Okay.
Smell it. Yeah.
Gosh.
That is way too
There's
many
like
people.
30 kids.
Someone with perfect eyebrows, like Michelle Gilmore Meyer.
Oh, Michelle.
She really has perfect eyebrows.
I would say Brett and Zach are like this dynamic duo. They're like Brad Pitt and George Clooney, like from
Is it
Ocean's
Ocean
11.
11? Oh my gosh, I
Or-
was gonna say Ocean 11.
Yeah,
Who's
or-
Julia Roberts?
See, I'm still working that one out. I'm not quite sure. Yeah. So, anyways, Zach Sadler and Brett would definitely be Brad Pitt and George Clooney. I don't know who would be who, but I would probably give Zach the edge on Brad Pitt. So, who's like the evil person of this class? Or like the
That
bad- or like-
I
or
will
like the
get
bad
into.
person?
The bad person? This is why student life really shouldn't be interviewed for this, because we have like files on everyone.
Well, I think certainly Captain America comes to mind because certainly Chaz Baines would have to be Captain America.
The kind of movie that they would be, there's a couple of options. I think about the movie Driving Miss Daisy. I think Driving Miss Daisy would be this class, with Emerson Forte clearly as Jessica Tandy, but definitely Ghostbusters, because they're fighting impossible odds and they're fighting impossible things, and they're doing it with not always the best equipment. I think if I were to sum up this class, but with any movie, it would be Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope.
Oh, absolutely. This class is Dumb and Dumber. No, that's not true. Not for all of them. Because that would only give roles for 2 of them, and that wouldn't be enough, would it? Oh, this class would absolutely be Speed. They started their freshman year on the road, going back and forth between Escondido and our old campus, constantly in danger. And it looks like maybe now, just like Speed, they're going to have a happy ending.
Zach Sadler.
Or they're
Andrew Ossie as Samwise Gamgee.
yeah. Who would be Frodo?
Boy, that's a good one. Okay, we're in the Lord of the Rings mode now. Let's see. I don't know who would be Frodo. Let's see. I would be Gandalf because I'm always Gandalf.
What about Braveheart? Chaz is easily William Wallace, but like
I'm
it's just
William
an
Wallace.
American
Chaz
version.
is
It's just an American version of Braveheart.
Chaz
and
is
it's William
the
Wallace.
leprous dad.
If it was like Chaz would be in The Patriot, that's for sure. Think about that.
Chaz is every character in The Patriot.
If you could do some kind of like Shawshank Redemption, who's breaking out? That's what I want. So there's some people here who I think would expressly think that it's time to break out of JP Catholic. So who would think like that they're about to make like a prison break?
Good question.
Yeah.
I don't know who most of these people are. I'm going to be really honest.
Well, you can just take a guess. I mean, who looks like somebody? Who's about to
Honestly,
break
there's
out?
one that I really don't like. I wouldn't trust
As
for
far
a
as you can throw
second. Janice.
If I would have to connect Stephanie with a character in the video game, it would be Yuna from Final Fantasy X. Yuna is all heart and very modest, and so is Stephanie.
You were going to say something about him.
About Shannon?
Yeah.
Well, with Shannon, there's been like 8 or 9 different Shannon looks during his time at JP Catholic.
Right.
There's like, there was a little more preppy Shannon. Then there was like really like hardcore Shannon, and I woun't cross him in an alley, that's for sure. And particularly when he has like those wiry guns out, he's like he's like the skinny Polisco when he has those guns out like this. But then if Shannon can't finish the job, he gets Polisco out of the bullpen, you know, and he comes out with. It was very clear from the beginning how conservative Chaz Baines was.
We have a whole chapter on Chaz. Boo! At some point, we're all going to work for him.
So, have I ever plotted a murder for any of these seniors or any others? Excuse me, I have to take this. Yeah. No, just do it. Do it. Shoot her in the head.
A good match for John would probably be Raynor in StarCraft. He is a very powerful and, you know, into-your-face character.
I always liked having Emerson in class.
Mm-hmm. It feels like Jesus
oh my
is
gosh,
there.
yeah, seriously, a hippie Jesus. You know what I liked, and I mean this. Sasha is always fun in class.
She is.
You like her?
I agree.
Nick McAfee. I don't mind the guy, but everywhere I go, all I hear is I hate Nick McAfee.
It's so difficult to find the perfect character to match with Bax because she's so unique. I think I would make a brand new character, a character that is skilled in many traits.
All right, good, thanks. We can just put it on the regular card I have on file. Great, thanks. All right. Sorry. Have I ever plotted a murder? I'll tell you. It happens so frequently, it's hard to keep track.
Stephanie, can we go back to the individuals? Thank you for being an excellent sacristan. She was very, very good. What were you going to say about Ben Moore? You were going to say some bad things about him.
It was more Ben West.
There's two Bens?
Yeah, I mean, have you been conflating them the whole time?
I didn't know there was a Ben.
Yeah.
Olivia. I got to say something to Olivia.
Yeah, she's...
I got to level with you.
Go ahead.
Olivia and I have had this bit since her first day here. She introduced herself or something. She's like, "Oh, I'm Lebanese, you're Chaldean." She was expecting that to be all excited and happy about that, and I wasn't. And then from that point on, she always asked me like, "Oh, do you still hate me?" And I would always say yes.
The very talented Joey Hatch, who is no longer with us, decided he wanted to make a rap, and he actually put headphones on me, put the song on loop, and left the room for 15 or 20 minutes while I over and over again recited this. And so this is actually the final product of the House of Sirs rap. I'm letting go of my past, I'm gonna leave it all behind. You ain't got nothing on me, cause there ain't nothing to find. I used to live for myself, what kind of life is that? I was running in circles, didn't know where I was at. But then I found it, found the way up the cross. Joe Cross from the JP, yeah, I'm the boss. I smoke like a G, head of security. Guys and girls, you live separate, or else he'll kinda leave.
That'll bring a lot of memories back to the class, actually. I used to do that into the mic. Any online students are very aware how my mucus goes back into my nose. Now I have a microphone that I can, the pin-on microphone, they have volume in the class now. So I can do this. Watch this. You listening? Isn't that awful? That's the best.
All right, so I know that Nathan Scoggins comes in here and he's hilarious, and Father Andy comes in and he's funny, and then Tom Dunn in his very sly and dry way is hilarious. And I'm not a comedy guy. I don't take money to be funny. I do thrillers. I do action. Did anybody follow you here? Wait a minute. Who is that over there? I need all of you to get rid of your cell phones. Don't use the phones. They're being listened to. Put that down. Hook, don't shoot! Ah!
Cut. Put the bag back on.